realized Viaduct was last week, but everyone can learn something from Blaze. Strange, both of our soldiers use the original now, so actually that kind of can help because now if I hear a regular rocket launcher, I'll know the other team is flanking us. So Blaze saw the roamer jump away, so he just pushed the tunnel immediately. Whenever Blaze jumps, that's when we would ideally push, but Grape and Ash bombed us at the exact same time. So Blaze went in alone, and he did hit a very nice direct, but we were busy cleaning up their soldiers. Clockwork actually came back to chase one of the soldiers with me. That usually isn't what I'd expect to happen. I'd usually expect just me to like clean up the soldiers, and then Clockwork and Blaze would both go aggressive. So Blaze, the role he's just playing there on that mid is like, he's just initiating, you know? He saw the flank was open, then he went in, and the moment the roamer jumps, like the whole other team will turn around, or at least their scouts and their combo will direct all their attention to him. So it's really useful to have your, see, one thing he's doing here is like, he's initiating, but he's not dying. This is a crucial thing that like a really good roamer will do, is he'll jump in just to like stand his ground and like turn eyes to him, but he's still at a safe enough distance where he can escape. Too many roamers, when they initiate, every time they go in, they just die. That was a huge double rocket drop Ninja Nick. Honestly, our follow-up is pretty weak for Blaze right now. Like, he's going for a lot of things, and we're just kind of letting him do them, and we're not really helping him that much. It's kind of sad. I bet he gets annoyed with us a lot. So we got a couple picks here. But since they're getting... So the way that the cap point works is the team that doesn't own the point actually spawns first. So in that situation, Blaze jumped in, but he realized that he needed to survive and just backed out. And now Blaze... So the roamer does kind of control the flank on this map. Jesus! This guy's a monster. Holy shit. But I think what he saw there was that he had the positional advantage on Ash, and if you see someone sitting near a health pack, one thing that Blaze does is he's very confident to like attack people if he knows that he can jump on them and kill them. So sometimes you'd see someone like in mid-range like that, and you would be afraid to fight them. You'd maybe just spam them, but he could kind of tell based on like the context that Ash was weak, so he went for that frag. Again here, he can see that Ash didn't get the health pack, so he's pretty confident to take this fight. Now that our Uber's popped, he's probably just going to try and survive. So now the situation that's been created is that we just popped Uber to like their suicides. So now Blaze is probably going to be looking for an opportunity to force their Uber or kill their medic or something like that. He's going to be trying to put pressure on their combo. One thing you'll notice is he spams 3 rockets. He doesn't spam all 4. He often saves that last rocket so that he can jump away and escape. Here he's jumping in. The scouts are both shooting at him. See, again, he's kind of... I think we were a bit out of sync. We weren't helping as much as we could. I feel like one of our problems on this map was we're too passive, because like it shouldn't be all on Blaze to make the force happen. The rest of us should be helping and, you know, spamming with him and putting out like resistance. Here Blaze sees that the scouts are in a fight, so he's gonna go for that. He's gonna go for like the safety rocket. He's just trying to assist. One thing as a roamer or a soldier in general is like you have a lot of mobility when you rocket jump. So if you see someone involved in a fight, if you're just sending spam rockets across the map, that's actually, you know, you are helping them, but it's not the best way to help them. You can rocket jump and close the distance and do more damage with each rocket and try and end that fight as quickly as possible. Here he saw there was a scout right next to him, so that's why he went for that fight. I think if he knew he was alone, he probably would have been a little bit more passive, or when the scout peeked, he would have rocket jumped away. But since he saw a scout next to him, he took that fight, and he knew that if he hit one rocket, his scout could clean him up, but the timing was just not quite there with Clock. Gandhi bot? Yeah. It's my pleasure. It's fun. And I do hope to help people. Here. Okay, so they have Uber advantage. This is one of those situations where since we're 6 up, Blaze is probably going to try and get the force, but the thing is, if we pressure as a team, he doesn't have to die. So there, he helped spam and distracted, but they Ubered and killed Shade. At this point, again, the way the map works, we're probably just gonna wait for Shade. So we got a couple picks, but he's just gonna wait it out probably. And notice, okay, that was crucial what he just did there. He bombed in, but he didn't land on top of the combo. He jumped in and then jumped for positioning. And then when they're distracted, that's when he jumps in and lands on top of them. But if you're bombing to initiate and just distract, you don't want to land on top of them because then they're not looking at anything else. They're just waiting for you and they're going to focus you down. But the moment they were all distracted, that's when he landed on top of them and just destroyed their combo.
Mission ends in 30 seconds. Alert. The control point is being captured.
Here's Blaze trying to work to the left. Neither of the scouts like saw him, so what he's doing right now is he's just trying to get as many people to kind of shoot at him as possible. And then that's kind of how your team just creates pressure, is like everyone kind of initiates or like pressures at the same time, and then eventually like they're gonna have to choose the target, and or they'll just split their attention so badly that everyone can just push up. But you saw that Street Hoops was like, they'd look at Blaze and they'd look at our combo, then they'd look at Blaze, and like they kept having to go back and forth. They couldn't like, or they were indecisive about which target to focus. So Blaze just kind of stood at a distance where he knew he could still escape, but still deal damage. And eventually, once he had the opening from the distraction from everyone else, that's when he pushed up to go for the frag. Now he's trying a slightly different mid. I think we decided we wanted to play a little bit more aggressive this mid. I'm hoping. But in fact, it looks like it kind of panned out the exact same way as the last one. Where Blaze goes in, but we were dealing with their soldiers. I don't know. But Blaze had a pretty good bomb anyway. But he switched up the mid because he didn't want to get trapped in this tunnel, I don't think. I think he had gotten juggled a few times, and the fastest way he could get in was down here. Here, so in that situation, they all expect him to bomb their medic, so they're going to kind of back up, and it actually left their sniper out to dry. That was a random pipe. He was not aiming for Blaze there. That was pretty silly. But actually picking the sniper is a great pick to make when you're on a roamer, because it allows your combo to be much more aggressive. This was a pretty dumb situation. And here again, we'll probably just wait for Shade. A lot of roamers, what they'll do is like every time they spawn, they're just like, I have to kill the medic, I have to kill the medic, I have to kill the medic. But that's really not the best way to play roamer. You only should be focusing the medic when it's like, base it off like the Uber advantages and like things like that. Damn. Ash gets the return air shot. But yeah, Blaze, see, in this situation, he was just trying to control the flank. And we pushed as a team. So Blaze cleared this, and we cleared everything else. Ideally. Damn, I'm realizing how sloppy this kind of was. I probably should have been with Shade there, but I guess I was chasing their medic. In this situation, he's probably just going to hide. If he plays near a health pack, sometimes people just wander in here and he can get a frag on someone who's weak. Like Grape, look at this. See, Grape needed the health, Blaze was full health, and he could just one-rocket someone. You can always like use health packs as bait. If you know that the other team's medic's dead, sometimes as a roamer, that's like the best spot to be. It's because the other team's going to be, you know, desperate for health because they have no heals. So it's a great way to surprise people. Here, since he knew Ash was like not controlling the flank, he just pushed through. Everyone on Street Hoops going for air shots. Meanwhile, Clockwork just cleans them up. Oh my god.
We have secured the control point.
This match was on Sunday, a week ago. Just about, I think.
Alert.
So here Blaze sees that like Grape separated off from his medic. So he's just going to ignore the combo and see if he can just get behind, and or he's going to ignore the pocket, because if he goes behind, then Grape, who's already in a fight, has to turn around, and there's a chance he could pick the medic there. Now he's just trying to spam, but he can tell by the range that he's safe to spam like more rockets. In that situation, if he hit, I think if he would have hit a solid rocket on their medic, he probably would have gone in to try and kill him. So in this situation, see, he's like, he's juggling his targets very well. Like, he shot the scout, then he looked over here, because he knew if he hits a scout, the scout's not going to keep holding W, right? A lot of people, they'll hit a scout and then they'll just keep watching the scout, but Blaze realized he could hit the scout, then spam the combo, then spam the scout again. And here again, he's jumping in, but he's not landing on top of the other team. He's just jumping in into like an awkward position where if the other team wants to chase him, it's going to be very difficult, and they'll have to like put themselves at a like positioning disadvantage.
Mission ends in 60 seconds.
Now Shade's dead again. He sees Lansky's on the left, but he sees both scouts. I think there's a chance he'll try and go behind right now,
Alert. The control point is being
because the rest of our team's going to be pushing from the front. Okay, we all got wiped, so he's just going to go for a big play. Oh, so close with that rocket onto Deadbolt, my god. But in that situation, that was like one of those situations where he was going to go for a play, but he saw the medic was so fucking far back that it would be better off for him to trade his life for picks rather than the medic. So by picking Paragon, they're going to be down 1 when we push this, and he almost killed Deadbolt too, so that was a very smart bomb there by Blaze. Here again, he sees the scouts already in front of him, so he's pretty confident to just push up here. Here he just wants to buy as much time as possible. Like in that 1v1, if he can just play the corners as a soldier, like he used that wall and he was just spamming the very edge of it, that scout can't like easily rush him, and if he just stays alive for a little bit and maybe hits one rocket, the rest of our team can help clean it up, you know? Here he can hear, like, you can hear when fights are happening, you know? So that's when you, as a roamer, can be fairly confident that like that's kind of the time to go for a play or push. Because he could hear so many shots being fired over here that he just calmly pushed through the tunnel. He did run into one scout, and that kind of turned into like a 1v1, and the rest of us kind of lost our fights on the other side. But it was the right idea, you know. Got your shirt yesterday? Sweet, Luxor. Glad to hear it. Cap time up. Here he is focusing the demo again. The medic is so far back that as a roamer, you don't just always focus the medic. If someone's overextended, just focus them down, and then you're doing just as much as if you would be like distracting their combo, you know? There's a lot of different like priorities on roamer, you know? It's not always the medic, and that's one thing that Blaze does very well. So we ended up losing that. I don't know. It wasn't really Blaze's fault, you know? So, back on Blaze. Looks like Blaze is actually going to be doing the same thing he did last. Actually, no, see, he jumped away because he felt like the rest of us. I think now he's starting to be a bit more careful. He's waiting for our team to be in position before he goes. And you can see this made it work like so much better. And those couple jumps that he did, like he jumped forward, then he jumped back a little bit, waited for our team, then re-jumped. Even that one jump that he did when he came over here, he's like distracting a little bit. He didn't want to get caught in a 1v1. That was kind of why he jumped back. Because a scout that's fully buffed could just tunnel vision him like through that, or the soldier could push. So he didn't want to get caught, but then once he saw our team pushing up, that's when he decided to go. So I guess there's a couple different ways to play the mid. But I think he realized and he adapted from the first 2 rounds, seeing that like his timing was not quite working because the rest of us weren't really in position. Here he can see that they are committed on Cliff. And we got a few frags, so when that's happening, they're always going to be like retreating. So he could also tell that like he could see the scouts from across the map, so he'd know that he could go for the flank right then. He could even now be looking for that flank. Like if he sees their combo all flood out Cliff, he could maybe go for the flank again. He already saw both scouts, so he's not too worried about his left being rushed right now. He's like keeping track of the scouts. That's one of the big things you do as a roamer. Just wherever the scouts are, you kind of want to just mind where they are, play your distance from them. The Street Hoop scouts are kind of making it easy for him because they're always kind of out on the middle of the point. If there was a scout unaccounted for, I think Blaze would have to play a little bit more scared, and he wouldn't be able to spam quite as many rockets because the scout would be constantly pressuring him and he'd always be in danger of like taking 1v1. There, I think that scout was called weak, or he could see that it wasn't a buff scout. He could see the scout was kind of running away. And again, he was like playing the health pack, so in general, if someone's pushing you when you're on a health pack, there's a chance that they're kind of weak. And once he cornered him, it's pretty easy frag for a soldier there. He was very confident, you know. A lot of roamers, they see a scout, they're like very scared, but he like takes his time with his rockets, and he could see that like he had the positional advantage by getting that scout in the corner. And for all you guys asking if I'll upload this, I probably will. Here you can see where the sniper was. If he can pick that sniper, not only will it distract the entire other team, but it will free up a lot of pressure off us. Oh, I'm actually very surprised he went for that. I think killing the sniper would have been a big enough distraction where he could have just retreated off that. But also one subtle thing he did, which is very crucial, is he didn't just start spamming the sniper the moment he saw him. He closed the distance so he could guarantee 2 high damage rockets on him. If he would have shot him from here, there's a chance the first rocket would have done maybe like 50 damage, and then the second rocket after that would be so much harder to hit, and the sniper could surf it, and the rest of his team could like intervene in that before he could finish off the sniper. So the crits is popped. He just tries to put out some spam. He's getting caught on a 2v1 here. In that situation, the scout actually is the higher priority because there's a chance the demo can miss every single shot, but a scout won't miss every shot. And if he can kill that scout, he'll have a much easier time retreating. If he kills the demo first, the scout can just track him, you know, just click right on him, but he can't guarantee escaping that, you know? And a scout can chase so much easier than a demo. Yeah, a lot of this is just an issue of timing. Because Blaze is kind of... They're fights that we should be taking as a team, but then once our combo backs up, that's kind of like the moment he's trying to push, and it's kind of fucking us. Or it's fucking him, I guess. Here you can see the sniper, which is crucial. Sniper's kind of being guarded. He did miss a couple rockets, like there was one that was like right on the edge there. But right now he's just playing his health. If you're backing up and you're weak and you spam like that, it can kind of buy you some time. Here, just like I was saying earlier, like he could see someone was fighting our combo, so instead of just spamming rockets, he rocket jumped in to get involved in that fight and like intervene, you know?
Our control point is being captured.
I think Lansky will use the original on every map now.
We have secured the control point.
I'm not sure, but he said part of it's kind of mental. Oh my god. They're competing over health packs right now. So when we run a sniper, it definitely becomes harder for Blaze because he's like very alone on the flank. I rarely will be with him, I think.
Ends in 30 seconds.
Here, okay, here he's playing like the timing. Shade with that arrow. Oh my god. Actually, Shade said he was going to watch. I didn't see. I'm going to rewind just so I can see Shade's arrow. But in this situation, he was just chasing because the rest of our combo, like we communicate well. The best thing you can do for your roamer is just communicate. It really helps everyone, but like if he knows where the other team's retreating, if he knows who's weak, he can like make very crucial decisions for like who to chase and all that kind of stuff. So here's Ninja Nick.
Ends in 30 seconds.
Ninja Nick's down to 40 health. Shade gets him with the arrow. Ah, fuck, I didn't see what Uber percentage he was at. God damn it. But it was a good play from Shade. And here, he's just playing the clock. Like, if he can sit here and make them waste time and ammo chasing him or, like, spamming at him, they're never going to get through. And here, the soldiers are just going to fucking destroy them in this choke. Holy shit. Lansky and Blaze just spamming this spot. They just couldn't even step out of this. But that's what you can do. Like as a soldier, if you just take fights when the time is like appropriate, like you can do that on 5 CP maps too. Like this map, there's a clock, so it's very obvious. Like if you take a fight, you're wasting their time. But you can waste their time on a 5 CP map. Like if they should be going to fight a back cap or something, or if they're trying to chase someone else, or your medic just died and you want them to chase you. Like you can waste time in a lot of ways as a roamer. But our timing on a mids is a little bit better now. Seems we're fighting and following up on Blaze a lot more. But yeah, so he's a little bit more confident to play like that. So here he is with Clockwork. When Blaze and Clockwork are like together on the flank, you can tell that Blaze plays very, very confident. Like he's with Clock right here, so he's just like jumping in. Wow, he got saved. Thing is, he doesn't want to be Ubered too long, you know? He just wanted the Uber enough so he could get the health pack, you know? He didn't want to sit there and stay in the Uber. Because if he can get the flash and then retreat back here, and the rest of our Uber like occupies them here, then after the Uber fades and he's set himself up with a health pack, like he has the health and ammo and the positioning, we can sandwich them pretty easily. So that's kind of why he positioned himself there. Notice how many people he kills in one rocket when they're near that health pack? I just want to keep emphasizing that, like, controlling the health packs is so crucial as a roamer, because that's where you find weak players and you get those picks for your team. Here he's going behind. Here he's just trying to make the scout chase him and the sniper look at him. And then the rest of our team should be pushing up the front. But the timing's off again. I think there I wanted to push. You could see I was kind of forward, but Shade was like long gone. Have I done this for high level scouts? I haven't really. I've done a couple of my own POVs, but not really. I'm actually really surprised how easily they're giving up this flank, but it's the fact that they have a sniper. Their roamer is sniping, so the flank is much more open. Usually the roamer is like the one fighting for that tunnel, but Blaze is like, he's getting a free reign to push through. And it really does like make it easier to pressure them. Like if you can just get past the sniper and he misses like that first shot, it's kind of like he just starts losing control of the map. So you got to kind of play confident. Sometimes you will play against a sniper that's just hitting every fucking shot, so no matter what, you're just going to die. But you got to sometimes just play confident, like pretend the sniper's not going to hit a shot and just push through, because if he starts missing and like has to back up or starts hitting shots like, or backing up, yeah, it gives your team a lot of room. And like Blaze is just constantly flanking. Like he's exploiting the fact that both of their scouts, I didn't realize this about Street Hoops, but both of their scouts are they're kind of like orbiting the combo really like heavily. This flank is like constantly being open for Blaze. Right now we're doing a forward hold, so that means Lansky and Blaze are just going to be doing what they did last time and trying to juggle them in this choke. Blaze sees that they're pushing Cliff, so once again he's just going to go for the flank. Like so many mid picks from Blaze this game. If we have Uber and their medic's dead, like it's pretty easy for us to keep the forward hold going, because usually what will happen is the other team will start getting disoriented. Like their medic's dead, so there's going to be a couple seconds of lag, and then they're going to go suicide. But then that gives Blaze enough time to spawn up and then get in position before the other team like buffs and waits for their spawns. So trading for their medic is a pretty good trade for the roamer, especially during a forward hold. For other players, it might not work out as well, but always killing the medic works, I guess. Again, here, like, since we're rolling them on the other side, Blaze is pushing through a flank to try and sandwich people, kill people that are retreating, or kill people that are weak, you know. flank their medic who's standing his ground. Any of those things. Like, that's just a matter of like him reading the situation and us communicating well. They didn't enjoy our forward hold on this map, but the forward hold wouldn't have been nearly as effective if Blaze wasn't like constantly exploiting these weaknesses. Gunboats or shotgun? I prefer gunboats, to be honest. Just makes you much more mobile, I guess. As a soldier, I love jumping.
3,
So
2, 1. Point is now available for capture.
what's unusual? I haven't decided. I'm probably gonna buy an unusual to give away. Unless someone wants to give me one. I think aim was better with mouse or without mouse excel. Probably without, but lately, like the last few months, my aim has been probably the worst it's been in a long time. So, but I think my aim was the best it's been ever. Like, how long ago was that? I want to say like 4 or 5 months ago. I probably had the best aim on scout that I've ever had, but I kind of lost it. Well, maybe want to review this because it's recent and Blaze played well. So. What's up, Jeremy? I peaked, maybe. Everyone has slumps, you know, but you can't let it get to you. Like the last few matches I've played, I haven't done well. Like my aim has been awful. Like I could have probably gotten at least 10 more frags in every one of my matches, and frags that I probably would have gotten in the past. But I still play the same way, you know. I still try and play confidently, even though my aim hasn't been there. I pretend my aim is there. And sometimes I actually will hit my shots. You think my team will break up? I mean, it's inevitable, is it not? When it will happen, that's a different question. I could see our team being alive for a long time, though. Alright, going into the next half. Considering I-46, who would have won? We probably would have destroyed him, to be honest. Alright. Whew. So there he kind of got juggled or he got launched in a way he didn't want to be, but he reacted very quickly to that fact, and he realized that if he's really high in the sky and like kind of weak and propelled super fast, that actually will give him the opportunity to get behind and like be a bigger distraction. If he would have just jumped up and like, you know, it was not like a accelerated jump by like a sticky or whatever launched him, he probably would have just landed right over here and kind of died if he was like that weak. But he tried to buy a little bit more time. The rest of us kind of lost, so it wasn't his fault. He was just spamming. Again, they're giving him so much control over the flank because their roamer is sniping. And now, like, if he goes behind after picking a scout, like, who's gonna chase him, you know? Is their other scout gonna chase? So that, like, they can, like, but then they won't have a scout protecting the combo, and then, like, is their pocket gonna chase, and they have no soldiers? I don't know. Soldier is hard to chase with, too. Soldier v soldier chasing is pretty difficult. In that situation, I think Blaze kind of could have escaped it. Like, he got the force, and then he kept trying to shoot rockets. Maybe he thought Ninja Nick would drop someone, but I think he probably should have tried to jump away. So you'll also notice that 20B is kind of trying to forward hold, but it's very difficult when they have only one soldier. Blaze just like jumped over his rockets and got through that choke. But if you have two soldiers, they can like stagger their rockets, so it's very difficult to get through, and they just get juggled so much harder.
We have captured the control point.
Lansky with the savior air shot. So this is how the soldiers are gonna forward hold. So we are very far behind in this round. So the key to this, what Blaze is doing right now is he sees Lansky went to the other side. Oh, my fucking game crashed. I feel he was about to make a huge play. God damn it. I'm gonna try and get back to that position. But so something subtle that Blaze just did there before it crashed was he could see Lansky was not next to him holding that choke. Is my game crashing again? What the fuck is going on? So what he did was he actually pushed into the choke to gather more information, kind of like I'll just go over to that spot in the map. If you're here and you're just sitting here waiting for them to push, if you have two soldiers, it's fine. You can just spam the shit out of them, juggle them, you'll kill them instantly. But if it's just one soldier, like Lansky went here, if Blaze sits here, he's gonna get rushed. This is actually a pretty wide choke point for one person to hold alone. But since Blaze was alone, what he did was he pushed into here. This is a much smaller choke point and a longer sight line, so he can see if people are coming and he can juggle them alone. But if he sits here, it's like a blind corner. They can just rush around and rush him, and if he's alone, he can't juggle them alone in this choke point. But if he's right here, he has enough information and he can control that spot on the map if he's alone. But if Lansky came back, I'm sure he would back up to this spot, you know? And it also gives him the opportunity to check if he can go for a flank. So I'm going to start trying to fast forward this. Hopefully it doesn't crash. I'm going to go nice and slow though. Is this still a halftime? Yeah, this is. No, I think this should be right. This should be about right.
We have secured the control point.
Update, yeah, I will, Medred, sorry. Alright, this is where Blaze went for the flank. That scout has terrible awareness. He should have seen that. I think that was maybe one of those situations where Blaze could have waited, been a little bit more patient. I think he thought Ninja Nick would like back up into him, but he could have gone, since they didn't see him at all, he could have waited a little bit, closed the distance a little bit more, or maybe rocket jumped on them and get the flank. But since we knew Blaze was behind, we kind of killed them from the front, and then Blaze just flanked them, you know? Oh, he got juggled. I think Grape landed on his head there. One thing as a soldier you can do really well on this map is like you can kind of peek this a little bit and get enough information, or have your team like over here spotting these sight lines, and you can use this building as like, I don't know, a veil for your bomb. Like you can jump up really high around this and airstrafe around the corner and just land. I bet plenty of medics have sat right here just like watching for those soldiers. But sometimes you can get away with it, and you can get in pretty deep doing that. Here, Blaze is behind again. We have no heals, but again, their scouts are doing an awful, god awful, terrible job of tracking Blaze. So Blaze there saw that their medic was just pocketing a sniper, so he just easily killed the medic. Whenever I play scout, like one of my #1 priorities is focusing the medic. Or sorry, focusing the roamer who's trying to kill my medic. Like focusing the threats against my medic. Just always trying to think, you know, if I let this guy get behind, what's he gonna do to my medic, and then try and deny them, you know what I mean? Here their medic is already dead, so Blaze doesn't need to commit to die here or like kill anyone really. Wow. You just barely dodged that sticky, but yeah. Since they since their medic was dead, like all his spam damage is fine. Like he doesn't need to commit. He just wants to spam them and make them run away. You should never die if your medic is already dead, unless, or if the other team's medic is dead, sorry. Here again, him and Lansky are trying to forward hold right here. But see, you can see Lansky's kind of passively holding it. So that's why Blaze decides to push up. And he gets the huge flank. I feel like 4 rounds into this match, Street Hoops should have probably realized that Blaze was flanking them every time in spawn. But I don't know. I don't know. I guess they just didn't figure it out. Look at Clockwork, so confident. Again, he's kind of doing what Blaze was doing earlier. He's just trying to waste their time, because if Sizer's sitting here strafing back and forth, he's not gaining ground, you know?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we win.
Victory.
GG! Great match from Blaze, though. So, yeah. That was fun. I should do that again sometime. Someone proposed that